I'd now like to welcome to the floor our next speaker, Ilia Stambler, who will be speaking on behalf of the International Longevity Alliance for our next institutional co-founder spotlight, and giving an overview of their present scope of activities and their plans for the rest of the year. Ilia, great to have you with us. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Franco. Dmitry, Ian, thank you for the invitation. Thank you for this initiative. Uh, you are to be congratulated. It is a very promising, very important kind of platform that can help the longevity field. I am mainly involved in the longevity not non-for-profit sector, not mainly exclusively in the non-for-profit sector. I represent quite a few pro-longevity organizations. Uh, such as International Society on Aging and Disease, but here I mainly represent the International Longevity Alliance. It is a coalition of currently 29 pro-longevity organizations from 24 countries. Non-profit organizations should be emphasized. One of them is my home organization, the VETEC Association, the Movement for Longevity and Quality of Life in Israel. And I also speak a little on behalf of that organization, which is also a co-founding partner of this platform. What is our agenda? Our agenda is to promote longevity research, development, and application, with the main premise that by intervention into aging, we can prevent multiple age-related diseases and extend healthy lifespan. We are obviously not the only organization that promotes this view, the neuroscience view, but we do our part to raise awareness and promote it. And we believe that a major way to promote this view, a major way to promote the longevity field, is very simply to get more people involved, to get them together, to get them talk to each other, to get them collaborate, to learn of each other. In this regard, also this kind of platform that you created can be very valuable, and that's also what we do in our ways. The validity of the neuroscience approach should be obvious to everybody following the last year, when the aged population was the most heavily affected, both in terms of mortality and morbidity. And it should be obvious that by intervention into aging, by extending healthy longevity, we should also be able to better cope with this crisis. Last portion of a large portion of last year was spent promoting this connection between aging and COVID. We organized international conferences, published papers, published in the mainstream press. I must say, after a year and a half, that unfortunately this idea wasn't adopted too broadly by the public or by decision makers. Logically, it should be obvious, but it's some would separate in public mind, viruses apart, and the risk factors are separate. But still, we put a lot of effort into this promotion, and I hope we can build on that, to further uh, show the connection between aging and not just chronic non-communicable disease, but also infectious communicable diseases. Uh, of course, there are many proofs of feasibility that it is possible to intervene into aging to prevent multiple age-related disease and extend healthy life. Uh, we didn't invent it, but we do our best to promote it. There is also a large assortment of emerging geroprotective therapies or anti-aging therapies that are built on this principle that target specific process of aging in order to extend healthy life. Most of them are still in the fundamental laboratory stage, and our goal as an advocacy organization is to bring them as fast as possible to the clinic to facilitate the translation. So we have been promoting the discussion on this topic. For example, organized an international conference, uh, online conference with HELIS, the Health Life Extension Society, is one of the major collaborators with the ILA to raise discussion of this topic. Also, ILA funds some animal experiments with Senolytics in Leipzig University, but we mainly promote the discussion and advocate for more clinical testing of geroprotective therapies. And of course, I share the conviction that biomarkers are extremely important. You cannot treat or rely on treatments of something that you cannot diagnose. So in order to develop treatments for aging or for healthy aging, you have to be able to measure aging, to diagnose aging. That's why biomarkers, clinical endpoints, and generally the clinical criteria to evaluate aging are very important. And we also advanced this discussion, also organized another conference specifically on the clinical endpoints of aging. Also, right now, we completed a special research topic in Frontiers in Genetics under the ILA affiliation on clinical evaluation criteria for aging and age-related multimorbidity. 9 articles were published. Of course, that's just another, another drop in the ocean, another brick in the wall, but it still promotes somewhat the discussion. We're happy that also our platform, is advancing this discussion. And of course, we also advance health education, health and longevity education, but that's not our main area of activities. We do focus on biomedical intervention, on promoting of biomedical intervention, but we believe that these are not contradictory. Some people oppose healthy lifestyle with biomedical research and development. We believe that they can act in synergy. And of course, the main thrust of our organization, of the International Longevity Alliance, and also of our VETIC Association, is advocacy. Advocacy for more research and development, for more funding for the geroscience field, for the longevity field, which also involves explaining to the general public and to decision makers the benefit from this approach in economic terms and humanitarian terms. But in this audience, it's clear to everybody. Unfortunately, it is not so clear to the public and decision makers. But basically, as I believe, the way to advance the longevity field is to get more people involved. And that means everybody. That means the general public, the pharmaceutical and the medical technology industry, health insurance, life insurance, regulators, policymakers, scientists, students, all should be aware and involved in the longevity field. And that's why it is very important to create additional tools for their discourse, for their collaboration, for their cross-fertilization. And so your development is also very welcome. But of course, other means are also welcome to promote the dialogue. Still, if the importance of preventive geroscience approach is so obvious, why isn't it adopted by the decision makers more profoundly? Of course, there are great examples like the UK, which is more advanced than others probably, but still the proportion that is spent on the prevention of age-related disease is simply minuscule, both in terms of research and clinical practice. So we want to increase this proportion to some reasonable amounts. And how do we do this? As for any social cause that we believe needs promotion, we self-organize. We create a movement, we advocate, we educate, we go to decision makers, we go to the public. We stress the importance of a stronger effort in this area. Like with any social cause, with green cause, with the rights of specific segments of the population, also with the longevity cause, we need more advocacy. And that's where our organizations come into the Longevity Alliance, but also our organization in Israel. Our main activity is advocacy. Unfortunately, it's not such a well recognized and supported area in the longevity field, but it's also very important, even crucial. And you can do advocacy on every level, from the international, where you can influence particular programmatic documents. Here, just highlighted two international programmatic documents that we were able to somehow influence a little bit, the ICD-11, but I'll go back to it in more details later, and the general program of work, the WHO program of work, but I will speak about it a little bit later. Also, on the national level, we need to develop sets of policy recommendations for the promotion of the longevity field, such as we did with the International Society on Aging and Disease. That was done in this organization, but the translation, the dissemination was mainly done by the International Longevity Alliance. Generally, the synergy between organizations is very strong. A person can be in many organizations at once, and the cooperation is usually indistinguishable. So we need more of this advocacy on the national level. The main unit of advocacy is an individual NGO, an individual nonprofit. So in the Israeli nonprofit, for example, we work on increasing awareness of the longevity field, communication and support, analysis. Basically, these are the things that should be done. You know, you shouldn't think too lot about the subject to come up with this topic, and every venue for their promotion is important. And also on the individual level, we work to bring more people to the field, encourage more people to become interested, even without joining our organizations, and even without waiting for the governments to take on this agenda. Just to become more educated about the topic, become involved in research, in joining others, in forming network, and of course leading the healthy lifestyle, which will help us all to facilitate the therapies as well. What are some of the outcomes from this advocacy work? Well, it is probably too little to say, too early to say. I personally have been involved in longevity advocacy for about 20 years. In 2002, we built our first site on life extension promotion. But still, it is too early to count the gains. The field is too young, but still there are some important advancement where I'm happy to say that international longevity was also strongly involved. For example, we've been organizing for about 10 years the so-called International Longevity Day campaign, or the International Longevity Month campaign, to promote awareness about longevity research. In the good years, it involved hundreds of events in dozens of countries. Now, of course, the last year it was much less active, but we hope we will continue with this campaign and start to organize for the next October, even within the next few days. Of course, we also organize conferences, such as the series of conferences that we had in Israel and other countries, together with the Geroscience Interest Group, where I also had the honor to be in the organizing committee. So getting people together is very important, also in live venues, and I hope we renew this activity in the very near future. Some of the, just a few more minutes, some of the outcomes from our advocacy that we can be proud of. In 2017, we were able to introduce aging into the WHO program of work, thanks to the organizations like the International Society on Aging and Disease, but also the International Longevity Alliance and many other allies. Thanks to this advocacy, it is now in the work program. Also something that ILA especially can be proud of, in cooperation with the BGRF, the work of Franco also, and Darek Halturin and others, to introduce aging into the International Classification of Disease as an extension, as a modifying code, which for the first time put aging as a disease factor into the International Classification of Disease. So that also shows that through advocacy, it is possible to affect public policy and public health policy even at such a level. So that's also the kind of activity we will continue. And I must note our Israeli association, which is also a member of the ILA and also a contributor to this platform. The VETIC Association, also in cooperation with another association, Disabled Not Half a Person. And we advanced this on the Israeli political arena, organized some meetings in Knesset about enhancing research, development, and education for health and longevity. Actually put this topic into the Israel National Master Plan on Aging. As a result of this advocacy, there were issued several calls for research proposals, specifically in Israel, but also international, such as the BIREX Aging, Britain-Israel Research and Academic Exchange on Aging, where I had the honor to write the first draft of the call for research proposals. 200 labs submitted, 100 from the UK, 100 from Israel, 14 labs received funding with 7 joint projects. So I think it is a very successful model that can be scaled up to other countries. And that's also what we plan to do in the Israeli Association, and also hopefully in the International Longevity Alliance. because once again, collaboration is key here. It is absolutely obvious that one country, even a large country, cannot solve this problem alone, the problem of aging. We need international collaboration, and the more the better, through various means. And I hope our role as advocates and as communicators, connectors, will be to promote this communication. And here I once again welcome your initiative, and I hope together we will contribute that health and longevity will really become a top point on the international agenda, as it really deserves, and we can all benefit from the results from therapies for health and longevity. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you, Ilia.